non-citizens who are legal, just like when you came in. Excuse me, the border was not open.
Give me a. Are you kidding me?
We buy bots. We buy views. We buy. I mean, I knew. I'm telling you.
You think it's because of high taxes?
Just like to evade taxes. Sure.
It's evade taxes. So you see, wait, Sam, respectfully, I just figured out who you are. You just called entrepreneurs that live in New York and California as criminals. Who do those people take jobs away from?
They don't take jobs away.
Oh, they don't.
Welcome back to Rattlesnake TV, guys. One of our favorite leftists on planet Earth, Sam Cedar, is back getting repeatedly destroyed once again in a debate, and this time it's on the PBD podcast. And in this one, there is an almost unbelievable level of willful ignorance, denying reality in a way that one could only do in the most egregious of echo chambers. Now, a few weeks ago, Sam Cedar on his show said that he wanted to come on the Not One Step Back podcast and debate Andrew Wilson on economics. We accepted the challenge, and then he has gone radio silent. And on the most recent episode, we do another call out, so I will leave that link for you guys at the end. And so with that, let's get into the first clip where Vinny absolutely cooks this man.
And I think maybe you said that this is a Democratic strategy to get voters. Hold on for a second. The Social Security card that they get literally says not legitimate for voting purposes. It is so that these non-citizens who are legal, just like when you came in, excuse me, pay into the Social Security system and get, many of them never get that money back. So in addition to the undocumented immigrants who pay in $22 billion a year into Social Security and get zero back, these people pay several $billion in a year, and only if they become citizens, which most of them won't. Most of them will go back home over a period of time. They're here for temporary protected status. Maybe some of them are refugees and they get permanent citizenship. They won't get that money either. So every single thing of that video, this video here, was completely wrong that you guys did. It was fascinating to me because I feel like you, at the very least, I believe that you care about the information you're putting out.
We've had an open border for 4 years, and all the illegals, way more than 10 million, have come into this country. California, is that where you live?
No.
Where do you live?
I live in New York.
Okay, great, even better. California. So the amount of money that we spent on illegals with housing and all that shit, and Gavin Newsom passing a law that you don't even need an ID to vote. You're saying that we're coming up with where these people aren't coming in for the votes? That's the main goal of this whole thing. What was the open border for? Why was the border open for 4 years? Answer me that question.
First of all, the border was not open.
Give me a. Are you kidding me? Look at the. What do you mean the border wasn't open? Are you? Hold on. Did you smoke before you came in here? That's ridiculous.
By the way, Vinny, here's the part, though.
You're full of it, bro.
Here's the part.
Get out of here.
Sam, here's the part when I hear this, okay?
Anybody can look at that video. The things you were saying yesterday was a complete
type in
of lies or just misinformation.
Be honest with me.
Immigration year over year over year. Type in illegal immigration year over year.
The fact that you're saying the border wasn't wide open. How many deaths? How many deaths have happened? How many fentanyl deaths have happened per year while your freaking president Joe Biden was in office? How many? Hold on. How many Americans died just from fentanyl, and you're saying the border wasn't wide open? We've had the most illegal entry in 4 years in the history of the country.
Dude.
This is why. Let me finish. And this is why your party sucks. This is why your party is at 29% approval.
20%.
Because you got 20. Thank you. Because all you guys do is talk shit and just go anti-Trump. You have no policies. You guys have no vision. You have no leaders. You're talking about oligarchs and you hate the oligarchs. What do you think Bernie Sanders and AOC are going to get their money from? Their donors. Are you like, don't lie to yourself. For you to look and like, by the way, you're talking about yesterday we lied.
AOC and Bernie Sanders don't take money.
Hold on, ready for this? You're saying that we lied 2 days ago. You just lied, and you're going to look like a fool that the border wasn't wide open. Look at this chart. What does that chart say to you? So what is that? What did Trump, when Trump was in, he was trying to close it, but your party was fighting it?
No, let me just show the data, and then I want you to say what you want to say. Go a little bit lower with the data, Ron. No, because he said it's inaccurate. This is another one here showing
go back
data.
up. Go back up to the.
And then go to the last one, Rob. Go to the last one, Rob.
Go to the top one here.
I mean, this is the numbers you're talking about.
Charts.
So this is, you can
start one by one. Go up.
Explain every one of them.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you can see that this is what constitutes illegal immigration? These are, if it was an open border, you would not have these numbers. You would not have the numbers to know when Title 42 ends.
Yeah.
More people are coming to the border and they're being put into a system. Period.
That's the best part about it.
And these are all under temporary protected status. They all got Social Security numbers so they could pay taxes into our government and not necessarily get the services back.
Yes, and vote for Democrats.
No, they can't vote.
Right.
Those Social Security cards literally say on the card say you can't use this for voting.
AOC said we don't have an illegal immigration problem. We have a documentation problem. That's what AOC said. So this is not something new.
So to deny that the border was open under Joe Biden is just a complete and utter denial of reality. And this is the sort of thing that these leftists will do. They will take the truth and they will take the narrative and try and bend it and morph it into their own paradigm, whichever way possible, even if the data is literally right in front of their faces. And this is clearly why they lost the election so woefully, because Americans are sick of having their country invaded, and Americans are sick of being completely gaslit by politicians and by these sort of liberal elitist leftists. And they're also sick of them bringing in millions of people to try and flip swing states blue and replace the withering labor force due to declining birth rates. People are outright rejecting this, as is evidenced by the mandate and the emphatic mandate that Trump was given at the last election. And speaking of economics and Trump and policies that make the left lose their mind, check out this story here from the sponsor of today's video, Ground News. Trump says Vietnam willing to cut tariffs on US goods to 0 to reach deal. Now, that sounds to me like they are bending the knee, just as many other countries have done in the face of these new tariffs. And guess what, guys? You would just never believe this, but when you go over to how this is being reported, it really isn't being reported all that much by the left. And this is pretty much just centrist and predominantly right-wing sources that are actually reporting on this. So if you watch or read the mainstream media, and particularly left-leaning sources, you will just not get fed these sorts of stories. And this is why I use Ground News, who compile tens of thousands of these sources from all around the web and put them in one place so you can see exactly how these stories are being reported. And you can get instant access to the bias distribution. This is a really, really powerful tool. And guys, what's more is that for Rattlesnake TV listeners, Ground News are offering a massive 40% off the Vantage plan, which is what I use. So all you've got to do is hit those links right below, ground.news/rattlesnake. That's ground.news/rattlesnake, pinned in the comments and in the bio, or you can just hit this QR code right on screen here. And don't forget, guys, if you sign up for Ground News, you're not only doing yourself a favor, you are helping out a company that supports independent creators like myself to do what I do. So with that, let's get back into the video and watch the delusional takes from Sam Cedar just get progressively worse throughout this entire video. I mean, it gets to the point where I don't even know how this guy keeps a straight face.
Why did Charlie Kirk blow up so much the last 4 years? Specifically 18 months. Why did he blow up on TikTok out of all the places?
Did you see?
How do you blow up on TikTok? Do you know he was the most viewed Jubilee out of all of them?
Did you see that?
I think so. Can you see how many views Charlie Kirk got on Jubilee?
But that's
inconvenient.
This is just absolute.
Why do you think Charlie Kirk blew up though?
I have theories.
I want to hear it.
How did he start? How did Charlie Kirk start?
I don't care how he started. I'm asking how he's finishing. How did he blow up so much in the last 18 months?
Going to colleges, speaking in front of colleges? What do you mean?
Yeah, how did TPUSA get started?
Tell us. Let's see what angle
My
you're going to.
assumption was he was going to college talking to students.
I actually want to hear what he says because I'm watching these two times.
He got paid by a billionaire to start that organization.
Got it. So
it's just the truth.
So there is no
what's
conviction.
wrong with that?
There's no conviction on what Charlie does.
No, I'm sure there's conviction in what Charlie does.
Why did Charlie do so in the last 18 months?
I mean,
why do you think? A 20-year-old guy, why is he blowing up the way that he has? Why is this?
Well, he's not 20. He's in his
28 years old, 29, 30 years old.
Now. He's 30 now, but he started when he was 20.
Yeah, the last 2 years he was in his 20s. Why has he blown up so much?
I mean, I think there's a lot of money circulating on the right.
But he started when he was 18.
Forget the money.
Sam,
to go to college.
To blame it on the money. What about his voice, his reason, his rationale?
For Breitbart,
he's compelling.
By the way, so here's a question. So you think if you got the same money Charlie got, you would have the same views?
Yeah, I think, I saw Milo Yiannopoulos on Tim Pool about a month or two ago talking about how the Daily Wire got so big. And he said, this is Milo Yiannopoulos. Well, he said...
Charlie's different than Daily Wire.
100%.
Right.
He said, in the right-wing content era, he said...
Guys, just a quick reminder to assault that like button like it said something about your mother, and also subscribe to the channel if you want to join this community. And just a quick little update. We have now got a members-only section on our YouTube channel where we have a bunch of content, including all of the live streams, plus some podcasts and other videos that were too spicy to actually put on the home tab. So channel members will get access to all of that content, so become a member today. Anyways, let's get back to it.
We buy bots, we buy views. I knew. I'm telling you what Milo Yiannopoulos said.
Go ahead.
This is what he said.
This is
pull
fantastic.
It up. And he said,
"This is fantastic.
We fake it till we make it."
Oh my!
And that's why he's non-existent anymore.
Sam,
he used to be a big voice. Now you don't hear nothing.
Sam,
about
respectfully, there's something called giving credit where credit is due. Regardless of where Charlie got his money. Hold on.
I don't care. It's great. I'll give him credit. Charlie Kirk has made a lot of money.
But that's not where the credit is due.
What do you want me to say?
And I don't even know how much money he's made. The point is he's motivated a lot of people.
Yeah.
That's where the credit should be done. He's changed the hearts and minds of people
He helped Trump
on
win.
campuses. He would arguably be the #1 reason that Trump flipped Arizona.
Yeah.
To not give someone credit for the good work they've done and blame it on a billionaire.
Money flipped Arizona.
You
look at TPUSA played heavily in the Carrie Lake race. So huge, and the biggest, the widest loss they had was people under the age of 30.
Okay, so you don't want to give Charlie any credit. You blame. So
no, I don't care.
But Sam, hold on.
Give him all the credit.
Sam,
in the world.
before being a nihilist,
I'll give him a trophy.
Sam, you've had. Let me just ask this question.
What does he want? He can take the.
Sam,
I don't think Charlie wants.
We're right here,
buddy. Charlie needs anything.
Yeah, Sam.
Well, I don't
Charlie
understand
won
why
on
this conversation.
TikTok.
So
Sam,
a billionaire gives Charlie money and he automatically wins. Okay, I got a question for you. Explain how Mark Benioff puts money into Time magazine and it goes down.
I don't know who Mark Benioff is, and I haven't read Time magazine. And
well, you should get around more. It's unfortunate. Come out of the echo chamber. Mark Benioff is one of the most successful entrepreneurs of all time who used his money after his business success, and he went and he buys Time magazine because he wants to push liberal views and values, and the thing craters.
He would love.
Well, then
he's a billionaire.
Time magazine
should hit him up for money.
Getting out of my my bubble, right?
So the logic here is just such nonsensical leftist brain rot reasoning. It's hard to believe that anybody actually believes this. The reason why Charlie Kirk blew up was not because he's been at it for years doing the same things, not because he was in the battleground during the most heated election of our lifetime, not because he is a compelling speaker and a solid debater. No, it has to be because of the billionaires. I mean, the sheer amount of money that goes into propping up a left-wing media is just obscene. Think about all of these useless, talentless people like Rachel Maddow. And also think about how these big left-wing outlets are in bed with the government as well, getting that sort of support. Anyways, I think the best example of this that we can look at in terms of money and ideas is Don Lemon versus Tucker Carlson. Have a look at Don Lemon since he went independent. He has been an absolute abject failure out on his own, but he was the guy at CNN. He was the prime time news slot, and he was backed by big billionaire media moguls. Tucker Carlson had a similar come up. He was backed by billionaires like Rupert Murdoch at Fox News, but then when Tucker goes independent, Tucker is even more successful now than he was before. So what does that tell you? Does it tell you that the reason why Tucker is successful is because of the billionaires? Or does it tell you that these guys, with their similar trajectory on different sides, with different ideas, go out into the free marketplace of ideas, one is successful, one is begging for interviews?
Neighbor, what's up? How you doing? Great, how are you? Let me ask you something. You're not, oh, it's easy.
Maybe, just maybe, Sam Cedar, Charlie Kirk's messaging is extremely appealing, especially to young people, and your messaging is completely unpalatable. But it must just be the billionaires. However, I will say one thing, guys. I will say one thing and be charitable, or I will have to be honest about one thing. He's actually not totally wrong when he talks about buying views, etc. One of the things that these people do, and these independent sort of people, you might know who I'm talking about, is when they will release their new book, They will pay all of these different agencies from around the country to buy heaps of copies of their book so that it gets into the Amazon bestsellers list. And people also do buy views and buy live viewer bots. That actually is a thing that happens. And Milo is correct about that. And Sam Cedar is correct about that to an extent. So I have to be fair about that, but make no mistake, the leftists do this just as much. It is not just a right-wing thing. But anyway, speaking of the Daily Wire, they've had massive troubles recently with publicity. They're backed by billionaires. But if you have bad ideas and if you have bad PR because of those ideas, then the market will respond. Anyways, let's carry on to the next bit where Sam Cedar completely exposes himself.
Can you tell me why, out of all the 50 states in America in 2024 that voted for president, why did 50 for 50 state become more Republican? Can you tell me why out of 50 states that voted for president in 2024, can you tell me why the two states that lost the most people, the only two states in America that lost $1 trillion of money under management, that left their states to another state like Nevada, Texas, and Florida, can you tell me why those two states, imagine New York and California, during COVID, lost $1 trillion of wealth that left to other states? And even after all those people that left, the two states that became more Republican than they were before in 2020 were New York and Texas. Can you tell me why people come to Texas? Why do people go to Nevada? Why do people go to Florida? Why do you think it is? Is it because maybe they don't have state taxes? Why do you think Arthur Laffer's in Tennessee? Why do you think Musk is in Texas? Why do you think Rogan went to Texas? Why do you think California is losing so many jobs?
I think
it's because of high
people
taxes?
Who like to evade taxes. Sure,
it's evade taxes. So you see, but guys, let me, Sam, respectfully, I just figured out who you are. I'm telling you, I just figured out who you are. Deep down inside of you, you are driven by so much power, control, a deep-rooted feeling matching the qualities of a communist that wants to tell you what to do, and you think you know what's best for others, and if it isn't your way, everybody else is wrong. And by the way, an extremely unattractive quality,
I'm literally
but
just
very
advocating for higher taxes on super wealthy people.
No, you're not, because what you just said,
$2.5 million.
What you just said, let me just make the point here. You just said people who left California and New York, your first response was they're evading, as if they have to pay you. That's not how this works. They're evading taxes. These guys are tax evaders. They left. No, it's called, if a company offers better benefits. Are you on Rumble?
I think we stream on Rumble.
Where do you put your video clips the most? YouTube?
YouTube.
Why YouTube?
That's just what the technology was when we started.
Why don't you do it on Vimeo?
We do run it through Vimeo.
Why don't you do all your stuff through Vimeo? Why do you do it on YouTube?
That's where most people are.
And that's where they pay the best.
Well, I mean, that's where we have the most audience. But
you're evading the revenue going to another company. You're such an evader of sponsorship money going to another company that keeps more money of it. You're such an evader. Why are you evading all this sponsorship money? You're such a sponsorship money evader. Sam Cedar's a sponsorship money evader, everybody. Come on, man.
I'm a sponsorship evader. Yeah. What is it?
What did you call it? No, you called people leaving California tax evaders. See, that's the part.
I think there's a lot of people who leave high tax states for low tax states.
Is that evading, or is that just common sense?
You want to call them tax evaders.
I mean, if you want
I think there's a lot of people
that do that. If they're going for tax reasons, then they're trying to.
There's also a lot of people that go to lower cost restaurants versus higher cost restaurants. There's people that shop at H&M versus shopping at Gucci.
Better opportunity.
It's called saving money.
Situations.
If I have to be under someone's watch, like a dictatorship quality like you that thinks you know what's best for others.
You think I'm a dictator?
Financial dictator.
The way you are, where you feel, your first answer was a tax evader. That's how you view them. You don't view them as a asset to the state. You see them as criminals. You just called entrepreneurs that live in New York and California as criminals. Is tax evader a criminal? Rob, can you pull up what a tax evader is? Type in tax evader synonym. Tax evader synonym. What are some tax evader synonyms? Can you go to tax evader synonyms or also tax dodger, tax fraud, tax avoidance? You're calling these people criminals.
A person who tries to avoid paying taxes, often through illegal means.
Calling somebody who leaves.
So me, I left. So I left California because
I'm sorry. I should have said tax avoiders.
Right. Okay. So tax evaders. Right.
Avoiders.
It's called.
Are we good with tax avoiders?
It's called better opportunities.
Am I a better person if I say
Sam, you're also a tax avoider.
Better opportunities.
Because if you have an S corp, you have what is called as write-offs.
Well, that's such an
and so
evader.
you don't. So like when you do write-offs.
Do I do business?
I already know the answer. Of course you do.
You write off?
Such an
so
evader.
So you write it off.
You're such
Why
a tax evader.
Such an evader.
Why would you do such a thing, Sam? You're a tax evader.
It's
call the cops.
Shame on this guy
just
for
to do that.
writing off tax
Here's something.
Call the feds.
Here's something that
You probably have an accountant helping you.
He does. Sam, here's something that I've learned. It's okay to say the following. You ready? Man, I might have been wrong on that one.
So this is just so perfect, but I actually do think that Sam Cedar is a guy who doesn't mind this situation at all. He doesn't give two squirts if he sits there and says things that are just completely absurd and tries to get the conservatives really mad and looks quite confused and tries to pull a face as if he's just speaking to stupid people whenever they call him out on it. I think he genuinely gets a kick out of this, or he understands clip farming at the very least. I mean, it could be a number of things. But guys, I have to admit something, and I don't want to offend anybody who is watching, but I too am a tax avoider. I avoid taxes wherever possible. If there is a way around the system, then I might actually find myself paying $0 in tax. But in all seriousness though, eventually with these people, as Patrick just perfectly illustrated there, you find out that what it ultimately comes down to is that they just hate rich people. They hate wealthy and productive people. And this is what Nietzsche talked about with his idea of resentment, this bitter, seething emotion that builds up over a lifetime. These are the people who deep down feel inadequate, and instead of being motivated by the achievements of others and the potentiality of life, they start to form a deep hatred of individuals who embrace life and actually succeed. I mean, guys, we have all met resentful people, and it's almost like they carry around a bit of a dark cloud with them. And this is why I think that Sam Cedar ultimately enjoys this. It's because even if he is wrong, at least he gets to give them a little bit of a gut punch. But sometimes, guys, and this is where it gets interesting, the resentful person ends up becoming successful in their own right. The resentful person ends up becoming wealthy, so they end up becoming the thing that they have been rallying against their whole entire life. And then that creates a deep sense of cognitive dissonance for them. They are espousing one thing, but then living in a completely different way. They're speaking like a communist, but living like a capitalist. And if you're 60 years old, like Sam Cedar is, then there's no turning back now. The sunk cost fallacy is in full swing. You are in too deep. So you must just exist in this state of perpetual cognitive dissonance. Anyways, let's watch the last clip.
Here's a question for you. 10 million illegal immigrants came through the border in 4 years under Biden.
Way more.
You're saying it's more?
What's the number of undocumented immigrants you think we have in this country right now?
What I'm asking is those 4 years. How many do we have during those 4 years?
That came
through, that we have, according to credible sources. What's the number you hear?
That are in the country now, or actually just crossed
illegally during those 4 years?
Oh, I would imagine it's probably close to like 5, 6, maybe to 10 million.
Let's say 10 million people.
Tom Homan said 10 million.
Let's say it's 10 million. Let's say it's 10 million, but give or take 2 million. Let's just say it's 10 million, the number. Okay, those 10 million people that are coming here, are they rich?
No, the vast majority of them, I would say,
are poor, right? Okay, that they're coming here. Who does that benefit? They're going to need jobs, right? And what are they willing to work for?
Oh, I think they're going to get exploited without a doubt if that's where you're going with this.
Oh, so let me get this straight. So who do they benefit? Do they benefit larger corporations that get cheap labor?
They benefit, yeah.
So let me get this straight.
Meat processing plants.
Oh my God!
Whatnot. Oh, that's why I want them to have documents.
Sam.
Let them come to the border. Give them documents so that they can get worker protections.
So then, if that's the case, you know what that validates? Joe Biden and the Democratic policies are better for the billionaires than Trump's are, because they brought in cheap labor, and that cheap labor helps who? Helps the rich.
Billionaires.
I am in favor of a path to citizenship that is much easier.
And by the way, those 10 million people that came here illegally, give or take.
And that was in that bill that they suggested in the fall of 2023 that Trump said he didn't want because he wanted to keep it as an issue.
Who do those 10 million people take jobs away from? Who do they take jobs away from?
I don't know that they take jobs away from that many.
Really?
No.
Really?
We are at, in 20 years ago, we were told that the lowest unemployment that it was possible to have with a functioning economy was what? Do you remember? It 2%? Was something like 6 to 8%. And now our unemployment is at 4%. And so
and it was lower than that before.
I continue.
You're not answering the question, though. Who do those people take jobs away from?
I have answered it. I think largely they don't take jobs away from people.
Oh, they don't?
Of course they do.
Hang on. Perfect. I love what you just said. You think they don't take jobs away from anybody. Perfect. So if we go and we look at when China started trading, let me make the point. When China came through and was able to bring labor to us, 1971, it was called the ping pong agreement that they had where, we can send labor there, and labor at the time was 8 cents to 20 cents an hour, where for us minimum wage was $1.60. Then in 2001, when the Clinton policies helped China join the World Trade Organization, and at the time, minimum wage in China was 20 cents to 50 cents, depending on different regions, and for us was $5.15. We lost 6 million manufacturing jobs, give or take the next 7 years. Michigan, you got Indiana, you got all these other places. Where did those jobs go to? Who did they replace? Who lost those jobs? What happened to Detroit?
All that manufacturing went to China.
That's right. So what do you think these 10 million people that come here, who are they going to take jobs away from? Americans who are here legally. Those jobs are going to go to somebody that's cheap labor.
That was the movement of capital. Capital decided that it was cheaper for them to move to
I'm specifically talking about the last 4 years. So when you're saying labor is not going to be taken from people in America, that's the credibility you lose.
Yeah, so they don't take any jobs away. I mean, just genius, Sam. So let's just do this mathematically. If you have 100 jobs and you have, let's say, 150 candidates, and then you bring in another 100 candidates who are willing to do the job for half, who do you think is going to take all of the jobs, and who is going to be left without a job? And the common argument for this is, well, they do all of the jobs that Americans don't want to do. Okay. So you want slave labor? And if they weren't doing it, you leftists honestly think that Americans are so lazy that if these illegal immigrants weren't doing this job and there was this massive gap in the market, this service that needed to be filled, there wouldn't be some entrepreneurs or there wouldn't be some people who would come along and fill that gap in the market? Pure delusion and denial of reality. I can't imagine what the subscribers to his website and what his listeners actually look like. What an unhealthy news diet. And if you guys want a really healthy news diet, then you should definitely check out Ground News. And also, if you guys would like to, you can check out Not One Step Back, most recent episode here. I'm going to let YouTube recommend one for you right here. And if you guys would like to like and subscribe, you can. Until next time, I'm Jake. This is RattlesnakeTV, keeping you armed and dangerous.